and welcome to another Roblox tutorial with me, Teddy Shelley. Just in the Roblox studio at the moment and just opened up the base plate. I haven't been in here for a while, so I need to reset up all my windows. So I've got the toolbox open at the moment, which we've not really had to look at, but here in the toolbox is where you can find models that other people have created, which you can put into your game. So we'll definitely have a good look at them in the future. But for now, I don't need that, so I'm going to close that window down. So I've got my usual windows open, the output window, the properties window, and the Explorer window. The tutorial I'm going to follow today, sticking with the Roblox wiki, I'm going to do the tutorial lighting parts on fire, which sounds quite interesting. Okay, so it says the first thing is to put in two parts. One part is going to set things on fire, and the other part will put out fires, and call one fire part and the other water part. Okay, so if we go back here, to put in a part, as you know, we're in the Home tab, go up to Part, insert a block, bring it forward a bit, just scroll out, and bring it there. Let's scale it a little so it's big enough. There you go, that will do. I never get this angle right. We'll call that one, right click, go over to Explorer, it's in the workspace, right click to rename it, and we'll call it Fire Part. And we'll colour it red just to make it look like a fire part. We'll duplicate, but change the colour of this next one to blue, and change, by right clicking, change the name to water part. Okay, so there are our two parts. Okay, so tab out, let's have a look at what it says. It says we need a script in server script service. That's fine. Okay, server script service. Let's right click here, insert object, script. Get rid of print hello world. Okay, so it says we've been using functions quite a bit already. Print and wait are functions that can work in any Roblox script, while set minutes after midnight is a member function of the lighting service. And remember, in the last episode we did the set minutes after midnight to create a light that came on at dusk. So these functions have already been defined by Roblox, so it knows exactly what those things need to do, but we can also create custom functions. So it says first we need a function to light a part on fire. We will start the function like this. So let's do what we usually do, which is copy, pop over here, paste. So this function then is called light on fire. I mean, you could call it anything, and you have those two brackets after it. And in this case, all it's going to do is print to the output window, lighting on fire, so we can see that the function is working. The wiki says there are several important parts to making a function. We have to start the line of code with the keyword function. The next word will be the name of our function, so in this case, it's light on fire. There are special rules about naming a function, but we'll leave that for the minute. We add the parentheses, and then we add the code that we want to run when the function is called. In this case, it's that print to the output window, lighting on fire, and then you have to end the function with the word end. But as it says here, the function isn't finished. If we actually press run now, which I won't do, nothing will happen, because although the function has been written, we haven't actually called the function. You have to call the function to say, right, now please run. And in this case, you do it by typing the name of the function underneath. So light on fire is the name. That's how you call the function. So the function is light on fire, and what it actually does is prints lighting on fire, and the word end then just ends the function. But to actually do anything, you've got to type in light on fire, or whatever the name of that function would be. So if we press play now, yeah, in the output window there, you can see lighting on fire. Okay, nothing much happening there though. It's got something red here, let's have a read. When making your own functions, you must be sure that the function is defined earlier in the code than when you use it. So you couldn't have put light on fire first and then the function because it just wouldn't know what to do. Okay, so right now it only prints, but we actually want flames to happen. We want to be able to use this function to light specific parts on fire. So next we need to make sure we can tell the function which part we want to light up. We do this by adding a parameter to the function. So in between the parentheses in the function, include the word part. So it's got the word part there. So let's go back to that. Go back to the script. So this is where we use these brackets. So it's light on fire, and it's going to be a relevant part that gets lit on fire. And within the function, it says to print the part dot name. So we'll go back to that. Print part dot name. I think I did that wrong. What's the actual syntax? What's brackets? Okay. Print. So is it going to say which part is lighting on fire? I'm suspecting that that's where we're heading here. The word part in the above code is a parameter for a function. Okay, we've been using parameters in other functions. I can't remember, it's been a couple of weeks now. But it says in the wait function, we've provided a number. Of course we have, yes. When we did wait, we said how long we wanted it to wait. Whether it was 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, that kind of thing. And in the print function, we can provide a string or number as a parameter. In this case, we're going to provide the part that we want to set on fire. Inside the function, we can use part just as we would a normal variable. Okay, now it says to add some fire. So you create a new fire instance within the code and make its parent the part that was passed in. What? That just doesn't make any sense to me. I have got a cold, so maybe it's that. So it says just like how we can create a new part with a line instance new part. And if you recall, that's how we can code in the creation of a new part in the game. Instance new part. So you use the same syntax, instance new fire, to create fire. We have to make sure to store the fire in a variable so we can set its parent property. For me, some of this stuff is just not written in a way that makes absolute sense to me when I first read it. But we'll get there. So I'm going to copy and paste this fire bit. When I do that, this one just helps me understand it more. Let's have that in. So a get function, light on fire, is the function. It's going to light a particular part on fire. It's going to print what it's doing. The fire bit of it is a fire equals instance new fire. So it's going to create some fire. Obviously, that's built into Roblox. Roblox knows what fire is. It's something it can generate. And we're telling it fire.parent. We say in the parent for the fire will be a part. The part. A specific part. We'll see. Let me just save this a sec. Oops. No, I don't save like that, do I? Right. Leave it for a minute then. Right. The last thing we need to do is call this function whenever a part hits the fire part we created at the beginning of the tutorial. So that's our red part. To do this, we're going to use something called an event. Events are used to call functions when certain things happen in a game. Some examples of events are when things collide, when a player joins a game, when a player presses a button. Okay. There are many places where we can call custom functions when events happen in the game. In this case, we're going to use an event called touch, which is associated with, or touched with parts. Oh gosh, right, let's just call this again. Let's see if it makes sense. Go back to Roblox, start at end. I think I get rid of that. We don't call that function that way now anymore. So fire part, which is the part that we have, is within game workspace fire part. So this bit, fire part equals game workspace fire part, links to this explorer. Within game workspace fire part is our part. So now it's saying from now on we're going to call it fire part without a capital in the first bit of fire. And then it says when this fire part is touched, connect, start the light on fire function. So when it's touched, start the light on fire function. I get that. The light on fire function then will print lighting on fire, and it will say which part is printing on fire. It will also generate a new fire and will attach that fire to its parent, which will be the part it is lit on fire. And I'm guessing that will be a part of my little person, like his arm or something. I don't know. Here he is. Forgot to log in, so it's still a guess one. So I'm going to touch this now. Ooh, yes. Lighting on fire, left leg. Lighting on fire, right leg. Lighting on fire, humanoid root part. Lighting on fire, right leg. Oh my goodness, yes. So, going back to that script then. The light on fire, a specific part, which it named, is just a bit of the humanoid body, which is made up of different parts. So it created the fire, and whatever touched it, whatever part, was the part that then was lit on fire. Okay, I think that makes sense. Okay, putting out fires. So it says, let's be nice to our players and add a way for them to put out the fire by stepping on the water part. So we now need to create a function to put out fires and then connect that to a touched event. So I'm wondering if this is all in the same script. I'm going to assume it is. So underneath here, we'll have this new function called put out fire part. Print got to put out the fire on, colon, and then print part name. So that's the same thing. It's an ordinary print sort of string, and then it will print out whatever part was actually put on fire. That's all the same. And this is called water part. Again, game workspace water part, so associating it with the other part we have here within workspace, the blue one. And when that is touched, that's when put out fire comes on. Is that all we have to do for that? Yeah, I think it is. So let's go back and test that. So little person gonna run around and go on fire. Right, you're on fire. Still on fire. And now it's putting out the fire. It's still there though. Got to put out fire on left leg, right leg. Still on fire though. It's saying it's putting out the fire, but it's not actually extinguishing the fire. Okay, let's read on. It does say what happens if we step on the water part and our character isn't on fire at all. Well, instead of reading ahead, let's try that anyway and see what happens. Oops, what am I doing? Play. So we'll run straight to the blue part first, where it's going to straight away call a script, put out fire, but there is no fire. Well, in my case, it just prints it all out, but doesn't do anything. It says, I should have an error saying fire is not a valid member of part, but I didn't have an error. How strange. Oh, I've skipped a bit. Dear me. Start again. You have to add the word. To get rid of the fire, you've got to use a function called destroy. This function, so after putting in, right, the function, the print's got to put out the fire when you touch the blue thing. The wiki goes on to say we've got to then also add a function called destroy. It can be used on any object in Roblox to get rid of it, which is brilliant. So part fire destroy. So if we add that to our scripts, because all we've been doing so far is printing, got to put out the fire, but not actually doing it. What you'd actually do is part fire destroy. So let's try that first of all to see if the fire goes off. So first of all, set the little dude on fire. And now, yes, it worked. But what it's saying is, if you then run back on, you have an error saying fire is not a valid member of part. That's because the fire is gone. So it's telling us to destroy the fire, but there's no fire there to destroy. So there's going to have to be some sort of check-in if thing, yeah. Okay. So to fix this, it says we've got to check if the part we're attempting to douse has any fire in it at all. This can be done easily with another function called find first child. This function is used to see if a named part is inside of something else, and we can store the result in a variable. So let's take that code here, replace part fire destroy with this code. So it's saying fire equals part find first child fire. So I think it looks at the part and sees if there's a child on the part. Now there'll only be a child on the part if earlier on the person has touched the part that creates fire, because that is the function that creates a child of the part. So fire is part find first child fire. So if there is fire, that is the child of the part. It then calls it fire, which makes sense, and then says if fire, then fire destroy. That makes sense to me now, but won't an hour later, I'm sure. But never mind. Okay, so let's run. I'm on fire. I'm not on fire, finally. Turn around. It's doing the print thing out, but not getting the error, which is correct. Awesome. Okay, next steps. Let's combine our new code with some terrain. We can have a player light on fire if they step on lava, and then they can put it out by jumping in water. This is much more interesting and immersive than simply setting on blocks. So let's add a bit of terrain using the add terrain tool. Move and scale the fire and water parts that we made earlier so that they overlap the terrain we just added, and make sure both parts are anchored and that they can collide property is off, and also make them translucent. Okay, so I've gone back into our game, or our tutorial example. I've got my two parts here. So what it's saying then, what we've just read, is to create a lava terrain and a water terrain. So let's quickly do that. So we'll add, let's make them middle-sized, a lava one there, a water one there. It says on the fire part to change the transparency to translucent and make it take off can collide and make it anchored, and then you would move it so that it kind of covers the lava. May have to scale it up a bit. A minute. Let's lift it up a bit and set it somewhat over the lava. Oops. Fiddly, to say the least. Let's make it bigger there. And I'm sure we can move that down now. My problem is it won't actually go on top of the lava. It sort of sits above it, but it won't actually move and sit on it. I wonder if there's something, I don't know. So the problem will be my little guy, he's not going to run into this, is he? It's because it's above. If I position it X, Y, Z, it's the Y that's wrong. Can I make the Y 0? No, I won't move it down. It actually won't sit on top of this terrain. The water part, I'm assuming it's the same thing. So if we scale it, move it up a bit, move it across. Alright, the water part does. I'm struggling with the lava. The water part's lovely though, that's covered it, lovely. So there's something to do with this lava. Perhaps it's not lava, perhaps I'm using something wrong, like rock or something. Plain, I'm just looking at this one here. It looks like lava to me. Plain lock, I can't take that off. I don't know what snap to grids and ignore water. The only thing is if I could make it smoother. Like that much. And then I think that is a little bit smoother actually. And then move this fire part over there. I'm gonna have to put the transparency back. I can't work it like this. So scale. And I keep on. Right, that's the one I wanted. Still, that's it. Move. I cannot get it to settle on this one. And I've done what it said, which is, if I change the transparency is on, oops, 1. It's anchored and the can collide is off. So he's not going to run into it. Let's, so I don't know, see if it works, but it's not ideal, whereas the water one has worked a treat. So there's a difference between molten lava and water, I guess, which is a difference in the terrain properties, and I just do not know how to change that stuff yet. So let's just erode the bit we don't want now, this extra bit of terrain. Let's go on to water part and change its transparency and stuff. So that one should be a 1. And can collide off, and that one to be anchored as well. So all of that's right. The last thing, oops, it says here is that it also puts the fire part and the water part to be transparent in the script as well. So we'll just add that here. Here's my script. Okay, here's the script. We'll just add that down by here. And let's go back into home. So we've got this entire script, which basically is lights a path on fire, creates by creating a new fire, attaching it to a part, and then saying this part has been lit on fire. And then I put an out fire that checks to see if the part that's touched it has any fire on it. Is there a child? By using the find first child function, and then puts the fire out. And we're using terrain overlaid with these fire parts, which the transparency has been set at 1. So I think it makes sense, except I'm struggling with the terrain, but that's not the main part of this tutorial. He's drowning in the water, bless. Right, come on. Not his head. Come on. Right, out. Now we're going to run over to this bit of lava to see. Long way to run. I should have made it a bit nearer. To see if it puts. Yay! Did work anyway, even though it's sort of not sitting neatly. So you're on fire, a long way to run, dive in the water. Well, actually, you've got put out just before you reach the water because of the size of the blue box, but it doesn't matter. We've done it. I think I sort of understand how to put a player on fire and how to put out the fire, and I think that could be something we could use in a game. So that's good. As I say, the tutorial is on the Roblox wiki. Have a go yourselves, following it through. And if you can work out how to make this terrain flatter, please let me know because I am struggling with this. Thank you for watching. Bye.